Yogi Clan, what's up, y'all? Hey, if you're a subscriber to this channel, don't freak out. Miss Piggy's not dead, although she's not doing very well either. And I'll explain why in this video, but we're gonna bring her back to life. Today, it's kind of story time. So this weekend, Miss Piggy and I did a roughly about 1,600 mile round trip in between Friday and Saturday from North Carolina to northern Indiana, southern Michigan area. Wasn't by choice, because Miss Piggy, you know, oh, I lost the thing for my... Dang. I lost the little screw-in thing for my fender bib. It must have fallen off on the trip somewhere. Dang it. Anyways, she's not my first choice for a long-distance trip. Although her and I have done many trips before, because she now has 106,626 miles. And I've put all of those on but 6. So yeah, me and her, we're used to some long distance trips together, but we haven't done one in quite a long time since we got Bertha the Bagger. But Bertha the Bagger has a dead clutch, and parts are really hard to find now. I did manage to find a clutch, and it did arrive on Saturday, exactly 2 days late because I left Friday morning for this trip. So it was either postpone the trip or take Miss Piggy. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the lapel seat off, put a Mustang seat on with a backrest, which let me tell you, this saved my life because Miss Piggy's got 16-inch apes on her and I didn't put a windshield on this weekend. So without that, yeah, those 1,600 and some miles would have been pretty darn rough. So long story short, she did great on the way up there. However, it did rain and Yogi did get pretty darn wet. So that's okay though. I mean, if it doesn't rain, the stories aren't as good, right? Fast forward to the trip home. We leave northern Indiana. We get down to Indianapolis. We do a fuel stop, fill up. I was averaging, I would pull over around 140, 150 miles. I put in about 4.5 gallons was the average I was getting on the way up to northern Indiana. So that was pretty much what I was expecting. Well, after we filled up in Indianapolis, I make it 120 miles.
Oh, he's doing a video. Where is he?
Right here.
Alright.
Doing a video.
My fault for intruding.
That's alright.
Where
are you going? To the gym?
I'm going to the lake.
Oh, to the lake.
Yeah, what are you fixing?
I'm just getting the gas out of here so I have gas for the mower.
Alright, keeping them illegal things.
And telling a story along the way.
Alright, I'll make you money. Keep them the illegal things.
Yep. It isn't illegal when it's your own gas that you bought.
Yep.
Love you too, later. So I'm averaging, 140, 150 miles, everything's good. So we fill up outside Indianapolis, just north of Indianapolis. We make it through Indianapolis. We're heading towards Ohio to make our way back to North Carolina. I think that'll work. And I hit 120 miles, and boop, boop, it starts backfiring, it starts sputtering. It felt like it was running out of gas. I'm like, why am I running out of gas? I filled it up. I only put 120 miles on it. What the heck's the problem? We pull over to a gas station. I fill up, and it takes 3.2 gallons, which would have been about right for 120, a little over 120 some miles on the tank. We get going on the highway again, and bike seems to be running fine. Not a problem. We get into Ohio, and I hit 120 miles again, and just like clockwork, it starts backfiring, it starts sputtering, it starts acting crazy, starts acting temperamental. And I think, Miss Piggy's like me. Getting old, getting a little cranky, getting a little irritable. And I thought, at this point in time, well, I haven't replaced the fuel lines inside my tank in a long time. I probably just have a hole on one of the fuel lines inside the tank. No big deal. I'll just keep pulling over every 120 miles. We're getting like Sportster mileage now, right? So then that tank goes. We go through that tank. And yes, if you don't notice what I'm attempting to do, we're gonna be siphoning gas. I hooked a clothes hanger to it to keep this straight. That way I can get it all the way down into the bottom of the tank. This end in the siphon, pump the ball, gas should flow. So, tank 2, I make it 120 miles, it starts doing it again. I'm like, no big deal. As long as it keeps doing this, I can pull over every 120 miles. No big deal. We can do this. So we burn through that tank. Now we're in probably the middle of Ohio. I'm expecting we're going to go 120 miles. Au contraire, 80 miles. 80 miles into this tank of gas, it starts sputtering again. So now I'm thinking, oh junk, this is not a hole in the fuel line, this is something else. And all these things are running through my head. The spark plugs are bad, the spark plug wires could be bad, maybe my fuel pump's bad. So for the next, I would say, 4 tanks or so, because I still had 600 miles when this started acting up to get home. And let me tell you, she wasn't acting happy. And I made her a promise, because it rained from basically West Virginia, Ohio border all the way to North Indiana. And we got drenched on Friday heading the way up there. And this bike was nice and clean before we left, and it was nasty when we got there. So I made her a promise. Look, Miss Piggy, you get me home, baby, I will wash you, I will detail you, I will make you look great. So here we are now, filling up every 80 miles, which is not good when you by now I still got 400 miles left. That's divided by 80, that's like 5 more fill-ups to go, because I'm stopping every 80 miles, which is frustrating as heck. But as I'm rolling, I'm twisting that throttle, and it's just stumbling, it's just sputtering, it's just acting like it's running lean and starving for gas. So now I'm thinking, great, this is probably my fuel pump. I really hope this gets me home. As we were going through the mountains of Virginia is when I filled up last, and I went 130 miles. I don't know why it let me go there, because I was tracking 80 all these for like the past 4 fill-ups. Now I'm going 130, and yeah, it was acting up and sputtering and being grumpy, but it was still running. It was still doing okay. So I make it 130 miles, and it starts sputtering again. And by now I'm like within 40, 50 miles of home. So I fill up, and I'm thinking, yes, we're gonna make it home, because if it does at least 80, I'm good. We're gonna make it home. So I pull out from the gas station. I was riding with my buddy. He lives north of me, about an hour north, but he purposely went past his house basically to make sure I got home. So when I'm within 15 minutes of home, it's convenient. There's a highway there. I'm like, dude, just split off and head back home. No problem. 15 minutes, I can make it. So he peels off, and as soon as he does that, I turn right on the road that takes me back towards my house, and it like the sky fell out. It's just like she gave up. For the 2 miles going down this straight road that was mostly downhill the whole way, it's just sputtering and popping and sputtering and popping. So I pull out on the Highway 49. You can't turn left to head north. You have to turn right and then bang a U-turn to head up. And after you bang the U-turn, it's like uphill for the next 3/4 of a mile. And I didn't think I was going to make it up the hill. It just was having a fit and just acting crazy. But I'm thinking, gosh, I'm 3 miles from home. Just please get me home. 3 miles from home. And it did. She got me home, as you can see, because she's here. But pretty much by the time I got into the driveway, it was done. It was toast. There was no more left. So I haven't put a test on the fuel line to see what the pressure is, but I am pretty convinced that it's the fuel pump. So my plans are, I'm going to drain the gas. Fuel pumps are available now. I did see an All Balls fuel pump online. I think J&P Cycles had it. It did show that they have some in stock. But where the Quick Connect is over here for the fuel line, that check valve has a hose that comes out of it that goes to the fuel pump, because that's where it goes through the fuel pump, and the fuel pump pumps it through that check valve. I really want to replace that section of hose inside the tank in between that check valve and the fuel pump, because if I recall, the last time I changed the fuel pump, I didn't change that. So that's still stock, and that was in my thought in my head that that's probably got a hole in it. And since it's got 20 years, just about 19 years on it, and 106,000 miles, yeah, if I'm going to change the fuel pump, and I'll do the pressure regulator, and I'll do the internal hoses, I'm going to replace that one also. But those are sold out everywhere. It's going to be a challenge to find, just like the clutch was for this bike. But yeah, that was the adventure of Miss Piggy this weekend. So what did I learn? I learned that I'm old. I learned that I need a reliable bike. I learned that if I'm going to go ride 1,600 miles, I don't really want to do it on a Fat Boy anymore. I'm sorry, Miss Piggy. I do love you. We have had many wonderful, fond experiences together, including this past weekend, which was just fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. And I am so thankful for getting me home. And I promise I will most definitely give you a bath and a detail. But first, let's change this fuel pump. What do you say? Now, it may be a couple weeks until I can buy a fuel pump, because I just spent $300 on this one for a clutch. And, you know, looking at prices today online, I think I can get everything I need to do it for probably about $150. But I know this still has about 4 gallons of gas left in it, because I only put 40 or 50 miles on this. That's probably 1 gallon down on a 5-gallon tank, so I got probably at least 4 gallons of gas in here still, which I gotta get out if I'm gonna change the check valve. I gotta drain this tank completely. So right now I need gas for the mower. I figure I got 4 gallons of gas on here. It'd be a great time for story time, and get some gas for my mower so I can mow the grass. I'm honestly amazed that with a fuel pump going out, and I think the cause of it was about 2 weeks ago I took this out for a ride. I thought I had more gas in the tank than what I actually did. If for subscribers, you know that I have a video that says never run out of gas again, and that's all about going on your odometer. And apparently I didn't fit, and the whole key to it is you fill it up full every time you do it, and then you just figure out how many miles per gallon you're getting and how many gallons your tank holds. Do the math, and you can make sure you never run out of gas again. Well, apparently I violated one of those rules and didn't fully fill it up like I thought I did. But it had been a minute since I'd ridden this bike, so I forgot. And I did run out of gas in this bike about 2 weeks ago, which I think, you know, if that pump lost its prime, that could have caused it to overheat and probably damage the pump. So I think I was experiencing on the way home was once that fuel got below a certain level, that pump got hot and then it started acting up. I would go fill it up, it would cool it off, we'd run it again, and it would go till the fuel dropped and it got hot, and it would start doing it again. And every time it started doing it again, I was probably losing MPGs. So what was being 120 miles now dropped to 80 miles. What was being 80 miles now dropped to 50 miles, then dropped to 30 miles, and now it's doing it immediately. So I think it's pretty much toast. I'm really bummed I lost that thumb screw. That was a cool looking thumb screw. It was the top of a bullet. I think that's the only part that fell off that I've discovered. So lost that and lost fuel pump. That was my exciting weekend. So there you go, Yogi Clan. I hope you're having an awesome week. Stay tuned. More exciting stuff to come. I'll catch you on the next one. All right, y'all. Peace.